Hi, I'm Lynette Xanders. Today we're talking about culture, specifically how leaders can inspire it within their own teams. If your leadership team feels disconnected or unclear, these steps will help you bring them together with purpose, clarity, and a shared definition of success. Why does culture have to start with a leadership team? Culture is a nebulous concept. Culture is really about agreements between people. And people are hired from other companies, and everybody comes to the table with different ways of working that they learned from their previous employer. And leadership team needs to be aligned on rules of engagement, how we want to work together, how we want to interact with each other. Yes, and they have to model that behavior, best practices. If I ask team members, staffers, kind of what are you rewarded for and what's a sin at your company? Those that have trouble or are in trouble and have called me because they're in trouble, people's answers are, I'm rewarded for showing up. Nobody gets in trouble for anything. There's no sin. And at really strong organizations who call me to level up, they know exactly what they're rewarded for. These outputs, metrics, moving the ball forward. And a sin is, being rude, disengaging, not supporting our team members. So you can also call them tenets, if you will. And when leadership is not aligned in terms of, purpose and roles and our rules of engagement, then it's a free-for-all. Inmates are running the asylum. Everybody's doing something a little bit differently. Then there are hurt feelings and there are personality conflicts and there's drama. So we don't want drama because it gets in the way of doing good work. Clarity of purpose is, knowing what the end game is, but also knowing how we want to behave in order to get there. So I worked with an accounting firm that behaved differently, I will say, than other accounting firms. They hired differently than other accounting firms. They said I think it was Wyden's line for them, not your average boring accounting firm. And they had fun, right? They laughed, they threw great parties. So they had a good culture, but it was starting to wane because they were growing, because they bought other firms and that culture got absorbed. And so they weren't clear about the types of people they needed to hire. They weren't clear on how to keep their culture alive. So we documented it. We got really clear on how this firm was different. I mean, one of the things we did was ask employees, all the staffers, to write a love letter to the company, to the organization. I do that a lot. It's so revealing. And they said, we want accounting to be sexy again. And I was like, you said again. And they said, yeah, we know. It was, when I went to school, it was the sexiest thing in the world. It's all I wanted to do. So for these people, it was a mission. It wasn't just a job. And we ended up articulating, the 6 or 8 things that really made their culture special, that they wanted to keep alive. And they used those, we made a notebook to kind of remind people of what they were. It was an onboarding tool for new people who, were hired by the organization, and a recruiting tool, when they went to job fairs to find the right people, just kind of radiating their culture out like a lighthouse so that other like-minded people would find them. And some people were like, yeah, no thanks. It's a little too lighthearted for me. And some people were like, yes, please. This is exactly the place that I've been looking for. So documenting it, I think, is as important as being clear on it. And, defining success in a way that unites people is finding kind of what they agree on, what they have in common. I also say that culture is about pinky swears and side eye. It's how it gets policed. I go into some agencies and they still have, pool tables and kegs, and no one's ever at them. I was kind of like, why do you have this when no one's using it? Everybody's like, oh God, if I played pool, I would get so much side eye. Are you not busy enough? Do you not have enough work to do? And I'm like, oh no, not side eye. If I think ideation and laughter are in the same plane. Like if I go through an agency and there's no laughter, I know good ideas are not happening. But if people are laughing together, then it allows kind of the conversations that create ideas. It's the lightheartedness that allows ideas to thrive. So defining success can also come from, I do surveys, internal surveys, lifts and drains, what lifts you up and what drains you, and keeps you from doing your best work. And what surprises me is that there are always surprises to leadership. They don't know what lifts their teams up. They don't know what drains them, or they do, but not with any specificity that allows them to do anything about it. I went into one digital agency and they were like, oh, we're going to do this again. And I'm like, what do you mean? And they were like, they've asked us before, but nobody ever reads the surveys and nothing ever happens. Like for 10 years, I've put in the survey that our coffee sucks and nothing has happened. So the next day I was like, we need a new coffee vendor immediately before we do anything else. So actually taking action on the things that you learn, I think, is a way to breed culture, that people have hope and faith that you're going to do what needs to be done to create an environment where people are seen and heard and happy, and they'll play well together. That also means that some people are not allowed to misbehave. I've been in some brainstorms where people, literally have their arms crossed, if not their emotional arms crossed, and I don't allow it. Like, you either participate or you leave. Being in meetings without everybody on their laptops or on their phones. Like, if you're going to be present, and we'll make it a 20-minute meeting instead of a 30-minute meeting. So culture is what you design. It's what you reward for. It's what you put up with. But it absolutely should be intentional and needs to be intentional. And the people who kind of live and breathe that culture need to be part of the process. So I think culture begins at the top, but it isn't held only at the top. Like, it can't just be top down of this is what you need to do and how you need to behave, because we're dealing with humans and the interaction between humans. So, how do you manage that energy, I think is the key. So if you want more on building aligned and inspired leadership teams and creating magnetic cultures, visit wildalchemy.com.